You're listening to Tell Me Everything on Sirius XM Progress 127. Follow along on Twitter at John Fugelsang.
Now, probably heard Central Park Karen had the charges dropped because she took a course in how not to blame an innocent black man for something he never did while he's filming you lying to the cops. Keith Price has thoughts. We love Keith Price. He joins us every hump day. You know him as being the first openly black gay radio host at Sirius XM when he co-anchored the morning show on OutQ. Comedy Daddy, welcome back.
Hey, John. How you doing? What's going on?
It's good to hear your voice, my friend. You're a beautiful man, and I read your piece on Hey Jorge, here we go again, about how Central Park Karen had the charges dropped. And honestly, I'm struggling a bit with this, but I want you to set it up for us and give me your thoughts on this.
What's happening? Talk to me.
For those who don't remember, Central Park Karen, Amy Cooper, is her real name. She was in that viral Central Park confrontation where she was showing that even if you're someone who calls himself a Democrat, right? This is Upper West Side lady who voted for Hillary Clinton. But she knew,
and Obama.
She knew she could call the police and that she always had this level of privilege where she could claim an innocent black man was trying to assault her. And Chris Cooper, no relation, obviously, he literally filmed her lying to the police. And so we know what happened. The charges have been dismissed. And you have thoughts. Your piece is on fire. I want to hear your thoughts first.
Well, it is clear that we are trying to kind of get some sort of racial harmony and some sort of concept of equity in this country. And, we are not doing the job. The country is not doing the job by at least following the law when it comes to people just doing that, breaking the law. You know, and until that is the universal standard for everybody, it's the same story. It becomes the same story. This poor white woman felt threatened, so she called the police. And nobody is looking at the fact that had there not been a phone camera, Mr. Cooper probably could be dead or in jail, or certainly spending a lot of money trying to prove his innocence. I agree. And so, I think that is something that we are letting slide because, we don't want her to feel she took a class on racism and now she's, 5 steps in, she's a better human being. It's like, no. It's that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? When you write a hot check and you have to take that check writing class so that, they don't put that on your permanent record, but there's still a record of you having had written hot checks in order for you to have to take the class.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you all the way.
That's what this is. Defensive driving. That's what this is.
And by the way, this woman was totally willing to destroy this man's life because this man said to her, your dog should be on a leash.
Exactly.
Right? I was in Central Park this afternoon. People let their dogs run all over the place. I have a friend whose dog got killed because a rat bit it on the nose in Central Park. All he did was say your dog should be on a leash. And if he hadn't filmed it, then God only knows what happened to this man.
He would be one dead Negro. Let's be honest. He would be the closest thing to a Scottsboro boy of this modern age. Easy.
Okay, so you're not going to agree with me on here, but here's my sticking point on this because I'm with you.
Okay.
And I've had it with white people who say I voted for Obama, right? How can I be racist? And it's like the conservative people. Hey, I like Diamond and Silk. How can I be a racist, right? But Christian Cooper, the man in question, was the man who was wronged. And as you know, Christian Cooper feels that her international public humiliation, into his mind, was punishment enough. And he has tried to use, and again, this guy's like this cool guy that was just in the park bird watching. And I don't know if he's forgiven her per se, but he has said that, as long as the mic's on me, that focus on making Washington, D.C. a state, and that she has been punished. She has been scorned. This will carry around for the rest of her life. It's a safe bet she won't do it again. My question is, and I know I'm honky white bread motherfucker saying this, but if Mr. Cooper says she's paid enough, part of me feels like he should be the authority.
Okay. I would say yes to that, except that that's when you're living in a just society. And then that him being able to be that forgiving in a just society is a fabulous thing. I think that's wonderful, and that's where we should all be. But let's face it.
He's a very evolved man. I'll give him that. He's a very evolved guy.
I love the evolution. I'm not knocking his zen. Yeah. Except that, but let's be honest. It's like this situation that he is in, even though he feels that way about the situation itself is at one of the root problems and the root causes of why something like D.C. is never going to become a state anytime soon.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
and that until you hit it from that foundational level at this point now, especially when the ball has been given to you. Like I said, I get it. I get it that, you know, humiliating her is not the way to go. But think about it.
She humiliated herself. She humiliated herself. And
she humiliated herself.
I do think that there's white people who will not pull this shit because they've seen what happened to her. But again, as you point out exactly right, if he wasn't filming her, all this, so we know the truth.
Anybody's game. It should have been anybody's game.
It'd be another white lady's word against a black man's word in Central Park. Absolutely.
And it'll be the police officer that comes up if he's having a bad day, or if this is that last time he had to deal with a black guy and do such and such, or, you know, the fact that Mr. Cooper is clearly an articulate and intelligent man, that is something that poses a threat to a police officer who feels like, you know, how dare this, you know, let's get back to the word uppity, because that's what they'll think in those moments when they're being challenged by a black man who is just as smart, if not smarter than they are.
Totally. So, I'm with you. I know.
I love that, you know, he feels the zen. I'm not mad at the zen, and I wish that we could all be there. But you got to, unfortunately, the omelet that he wants to have made is going to require him breaking eggs. And the eggs that he's going to have to break is not necessarily her humiliation. And the thing is that all of this stuff didn't necessarily require him per se, except for the fact that, you know, he could just submit his phone thing as testimony, and that really should have been all that they needed to have. Like, he didn't need to testify and, you know, have his walk into the stand moment like Joan Collins in Dynasty. He didn't have to have all of that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know. I mean, he wrote this great piece last year in the Washington Post saying, I think it's a mistake to focus on this one individual. The important thing the incident highlights is the long-standing, deep-seated racial bias against us black and brown folk that permeates in the United States. But in fairness, to your point, Christian Cooper's own sister publicly disagreed with him on this. He said, I must err on the side of compassion, and I know there's going to be a lot of folks who are going to really, really think that that's a setback in itself.
Yes, that is the same philosophy that we would like to have had extended to us, and the same courtesy that would be handed to us. But historically, that's not been the case.
Yeah.
And in this particular situation, like, you know, that whole incident happened the same day as George Floyd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
And, like, again,
it's incredible.
If you look at the trajectory of the conversation in terms of how race will have to be discussed, if you just take that one day, it's like, look at what happened in that one day, and that tells you everything about what's going on in this country.
Yeah. Everyone needs to read Keith's piece. Everyone needs to read Keith's piece. And you know, again, I admire Christian Cooper. I want to get him on the show, but, you know, you pack a lot of good points and a lot of humor and a lot of stuff that, you know, a lame white guy like me needs to read. So I really do appreciate it, Keith.
But John, you know what? I just thank you so much for letting me express it in this way, because it's not meant to be hateful. It's just like,
oh yeah, I know.
It's just you know,
it's meant to fight hate. It's meant to fight hate.
It's a spite hate. It's like, but you do a crime, you have to be punished. That's what we were taught as children growing up. And, you know, if the punishment meant that she had to get a fine and she had to, you know, go to court, and then let that be a part of the conversation. But don't let your lawyer, the last thing your lawyer says is that, you know, because of the way people behave throughout this process, that, you know, there may be legal consequences for them. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Fair enough. I'm a fan of this debate because I learn a lot from it. And, you know, I appreciate Christian Cooper and how evolved he is, but also, you know, it's very easy for white people who will never be in that position to appreciate it and not realize. So it's messy. And I mean, one thing I know is this woman's never going to call the police on a black person again for the rest of her life. Central Park Karen.
She doesn't.
Well, you know what? I mean, she's mortified. She was publicly humiliated, and she deserved the public humiliation because she was willing to ruin a man's life for a lie.
Exactly. Or God forbid, like the boy who called Wolf. Like, suppose she's in a situation the next time where, unfortunately, it may have been a black man that may attack her because, you know, and she's now allowing her guilt to let her be in a position.
Oh my God, you're right.
Of you know, it's.
And we have gone from the boy who cried wolf to the Karen who cried black. That's where we're at.
Oh, you better work, Daddy. Ow.
We got a lot of people lined up to talk about some stuff. You want to talk to the riffraff?
I'm here, honey. I'm here.
Okay, guys, we are going to your calls. Please, I know you've been on hold for a long time. Some of y'all, please be as quick and succinct and tight in your points as you can, because Keith is a very busy man.